I think you should try it. Oh, this is great.
Definitely a cult phenomenon.
You know what I think?
It just hits you in the
yeah.
face. Well, recording is now in progress.
Blood and
I realize I like paint.
That was a botch. I'm blending. Hold on.
So, anyway, thanks for tuning in. We're talking about wrestling.
I'm talking to the potatoes.
That's how it's gonna go.
Recording in progress. That's how we're starting the show from now on.
Yes, no.
No, I'm a singer now.
Yes, I heard you singing.
I have a beautiful voice. So we promised
to do this one about fucking 4 or 5 podcasts ago.
Yeah, all the people
Jade.
who don't listen to this podcast were promised a podcast about Jade Cargill, and they're all dying to know what two dorks think about this
Yes.
professional wrestler.
I have to say, to start it off, that I am so tired of her shtick. I'm so tired of them making it more important than the actual women's belt. I'm tired of even her promos are sounding exactly the same now. I don't know.
And I don't mind cut the shit.
Well, they took that out too now.
I know.
The one thing that was going, now they cut it out.
So I'm yeah, I mean, the Jade thing is getting old. I don't know if it ever really worked to begin with. I don't hate Jade Cargill. I think she's the victim of overbooking or being booked, I think, beyond her standing,
Yeah.
beyond what's realistic. Nobody complains about undercarders or mid-carders because they're not getting any push. What's to complain about? It's when somebody gets over pushed to the detriment of other people and to a point where it doesn't feel like it's really deserved.
Yeah, especially when you have more talented people losing to her now just so that she could get over.
Yeah. And it feels very WWE, like they're pushing this person because of basically how she looks. And she looks awesome.
And she's gotten better. I'm not denying that she's gotten better.
She's gotten better.
But
Her
it's still
promos
not
are
enough.
better. Her matches are better.
When you have people that is much more talented than you, that's just almost burying the entire female roster. And there's only now 4 or 5 women that's going for the main belt because all the other ones just got buried because of
and
Jade.
it's kind of reminds me of the worst era of Roman Reigns. What a lot of people hated about Roman Reigns, where it's just like, okay, we're putting the belt on Kevin Owens or Dean Ambrose because that's really what the fans want. But Roman Reigns' face is going to be on all the packaging. He's still the guy we're going to talk about all the time. He's the guy whose face is on the poster. You know what I mean? Like they weren't fooling anybody by giving us Dean Ambrose as a champion when the person who was treated with the most importance was Roman Reigns, who nobody really wanted at that time.
Yeah.
Now apparently he's exceeded all of expectations, but I can't say anything to that. I haven't watched.
I don't even think she gets a good pop anymore.
Not much.
I mean, people still kind of like her, but it's like at the same time, I feel like it's just, and it's almost like 180 days or something. I forgot. We don't fact check here, but but it's
7,036,500
but
days.
it's got to be I know it's over 150 or something like that. It's some ridiculous amount. So I'm sure you could fact check it and it'd take us 2 seconds instead of me just rambling off some freaking figures. How fun would that be? How fun would that be? Are you finding it?
What am I looking for?
Oh, you're not even looking for it. Anyway,
no, I brought up her match record, her history.
See how long she's been the champion for? Because I believe it's over 100 and something days.
I don't know. I'd have to do math on here.
Anyway, so
lots of days.
So I just feel like it's been going on. I do believe it's almost like a half a year at least. I think it's. I just don't like the fact that other people are not shining because they're trying to make her seem so pop. Even when she's not even fighting, even when she's not even wrestling, the promos just seems like it's supposed to be. She's more of a big deal when first I thought was okay when the women's belt, when Thunder Rosa got it, she wasn't even nearly as made as to be like a star than Jade. And then even Tony Storm now.
188 days. That's
All
not
right.
as long as I thought.
It's still pretty decent.
It's about 6,000 days fewer than it seems.
Yeah, it's still a half a year. So because then you have when Thunder Rosa, like I said, had it, she didn't seem like as important. Even Tony Storm now, who had a pop, still doesn't seem as important than Jade. So it's kind of like, okay, what are you doing now? Like,
The media scrum was another one. Like she gets invited to all the media scrums when the actual champion doesn't.
Yeah.
The main champion, the mid-card champion gets invited. I don't know. And we talked about this, that it might be like the networks. Oh, we like her. Let's see more of her. She looks like an X-Men, character.
Well, she did do that on purpose, but
literally, like, she looks like a comic book superhero.
Yeah. You do know that, like she did copy over Storm.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. I think they lost their mark. Not lost their mark, but they should have had it where when Athena faced her, Athena should have probably taken it over. Yep. I think that would, because if you have Athena, and I understand like we're two people that love Athena. If people don't know her work, then there's not really much to say to that. But
that match, she looked incredible. Athena carried that match.
My whole thing is, okay, if you don't have Deeb, you don't have Hater and the TNT things, they're more force, and they seem like they're going around the main belt. If you don't have these characters in the TNT belt, you have Athena losing. Who the hell else is going to have a chance then? Because Athena is way more talented than all these other people, so it's kind of like, it's almost, you're into a rut like they did with Roman Reigns with WWE now. It's like, where who's going to take the belt away from him? Because you just destroyed every single person on the roster and he went through everyone. So it's like, okay, the guy had it for the belt for like 2 years. So who do you do? So now everyone's going to be pissed because you're in this place now. It's like, okay, you did it so long and you beat through all these people that no matter who they put on the belt, half the crowd's going to be pissed because it wasn't their person that they want, because it's been so long. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that makes sense. Like, so
it's true.
Because it's been so long now, no matter what, you're not going to please anyone because they're like, oh, how come this person didn't get it though? And this one did, like,
yeah. In that time, they could have had 2 or 3 champions and like everybody would have been happy. That's a big problem because like a lot of people could benefit from this belt. And I feel like they're using the belt. Again, to compare it to Roman Reigns, it's like clearly she's the person that they find important, even though the championship belt was on like somebody they think the crowd wants. So it's like, here, take this. Here are the crumbs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the person we're going to hype up, but we'll just stick a belt on this person so the fans shut up. That's how it feels to me. And the other thing is like, we saw Athena come out. I don't remember what the match was, but like whatever she did following her loss to Jade, like the shine was kind of gone. Like the loss to Jade kind of took the wind out of her sails.
Yeah.
And it's because I think Jade doesn't feel like a legit champion.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you lose to her with all this build, it's just like, well,
yeah.
What are we doing with Athena then?
Well, I'm hoping.
Sure, great. Athena's here just to do some mid card stuff. Okay.
I'm glad that they like maybe hopefully concentrate on the female division, because with Athena going with Jade, they had this whole like promos about them having this match, and then all of a sudden it was like disappeared, like nothing ever happened. Jade was in all these other feuds, and then all of a sudden again they just threw Athena in there again. I'm like, when are they gonna give Athena her respect? But that's another podcast. But with Jade though, like it's really not much more left. I'm trying to think of like why they would do this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would they, like, what's the outcome? Because if you're going to bury, I agree that some people should own the belt for long periods of time to make the belt feel something, but she's not that talented. So therefore, because she's not that talented, she has the look and she's getting better. But when you're beating people has more talent than you, you're not the one to hold it this long.
No,
like it shouldn't be, like
I think it could have worked if they put it on her for a short amount of time and then, lost it to somebody more legit. But I don't think she's not talented. I think she is talented, but like she still feels
is.
green. And
Yeah.
there's the aspect of, one of the other things that I think fans want in AEW is like they want what WWE wasn't giving them, which was like not, trying to force their own handpicked people and give people their due who have paid their dues, right? Having somebody who just came out of nowhere, was like an internet famous bodybuilder, and then next day she's a pro wrestler, and then she's squashing all these people who have been doing it for years. Somebody like Athena, who's really put in the work, who has her own training school and everything. Like that's, I think, frustrating because it doesn't feel like justice,
Yeah.
Because I mean, one thing that people want out of wrestling is like the good guys beating the bad guys. They want to see something where it maybe not necessarily the good guys beating the bad guys, but that same type of feeling of justice, of the right thing being done. And so when somebody is getting pushed who doesn't deserve it, it's the opposite of that feeling. And how long do you do that for? Like, I get you do that sometimes when you put a belt on a heel or something in order to build to a big babyface win, to kind of cleanse that, injustice out of your system. But this is too long. And
Here's another. Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
And it just makes it. It's like, the longer she does it, the more you see the flaws, the more it feels like it's not working.
I was just going to say that. And that's why I didn't mean to try to cut you off before. But just like when her promos go extra long, you start to see she's really not that good of a talker. And then when her matches go for longer, you're like, she's really not that good of a wrestler still. Like, so they have to do it in like a perfect thing. But I agreed with you totally.
And like, if they made this belt more of a mid-card belt and didn't have her beating people like Athena, it might feel a little better. I mean, really, Athena was the big one.
That's what really pissed me off. That's what really pissed me off about this whole thing.
I mean, she beat Thunder Rosa way back, and I guess she beat Nyla Rose at one point. But like, if it was just her beating mid-carders and undercarders, and I'm looking at the list here now, like, and much as I love Layla Hirsch, like she's still a little bit of an undercarder. Like, I guess she's injured right now. But like, this list includes Ruby Soho. Julia Hart hadn't got a push yet, but she's on there. As we mentioned, Athena, like Thunder Rosa, we mentioned as well. Like, those three people shouldn't be on here. If everybody else that's on here, if it was just Diamante, who actually looked great. And I think really carried that match. Willow, even, like, she's still new. She hasn't gotten the push, hopefully, that she'll get soon. Anna Jay, Marina Shafir, Ty Conti was, I don't know about that one because she was starting to get a push. The Bunny, AQA, Julia Hart before she was getting a push, who actually I think Julia Hart's great.
Yes, I do.
Sky Blue, Valentina Rossi, like, those are all fine. Santana Garrett. Cool.
It's with Athena.
Athena was the last straw.
That was me. That was my, because what was the point of having Athena come in? Like, and I get it. Maybe they want to say, oh, we're not just going to sit there and give her the belts right away. But you really left no one else to take. You have to
put her in the match.
Yeah, just don't put her in a match. I get 100% correct. Just don't put her in a match.
But it's all designed. It's all concocted to try to put Jade over, and it feels desperate.
Yeah, it does. Especially like, because like I said, all the most talented people anyway. So now you put yourself into that position where you have to have, maybe now you have to sit there and think, okay, we're gonna have to put Deeb in it and let Deeb win, or one of these people,
right?
Because
who can make her look good.
Yes, people who can make her look good, and as well as people who seem legitimate to beat her. Because if you have people like Athena just losing, and it wasn't even a long match, to be honest with you, when they had it, and it's like, okay, come on, like, so it's I just think it's due for her to drop the belt, and I think they're gonna have to pull away some of the people with like Britt Baker and stuff like that, and just say, okay, hey, you're gonna have to, because I don't want Athena to become the Cesaro
of AEW who was like, we'll put Cesaro in, who like the fans love, but never wins. And basically his only job is to make other people look good. You know,
They do
we've
that with a
got
lot
this.
of people.
I know. Ziggler was another one of those people. But like, you know, you'd have like a tournament and you'd put Roman Reigns versus Cesaro. And at the time where like Roman Reigns wasn't as over as they wanted him to be. And that would be the first match. So like, okay, we're going to make Roman look good in the beginning and have Cesaro lose because his job is just to make other people who are not as good as him look better. I don't want that to happen to Athena. And that's what that match felt like to me. And that's why we're having this discussion now, because it was just the last straw. Now, that said,
with Nyla, wait, I'm sorry to say that with Nyla coming back in, she already beat Nyla. So it's like, do we even like, how does she look like a threat if she already beat her? Like, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, go ahead.
they're just still trying. Because like, again, I think Nyla is a good wrestler and they just are trying more and more and more just to find somebody who can get her over with the crowd, put her in a good match and make her look good. And Nyla's big too. So, you know, that kind of helps. But what I was going to say is like, I don't think she's bad if she's used right. Like one thing we found was like, oh, the matches aren't that bad when they're like 5 minutes long. And one of the problems is like, again, when putting her in a match with Athena, it's just like, why? Nobody wants to see Athena lose a 5-minute match to a green wrestler. But that's where she shines. And I think some of those matches were cool. Like the first match she was in was that tag match with Shaquille O'Neal. And we all went into that thinking like, oh my God, 2 like non-wrestlers wrestling in this match. They're going to be terrible, Shaq and Jade. And I actually thought it was a really fun match and they looked good. It
really was. Shaq did a really tremendous job, actually.
I thought Shaq was great. And I actually thought Jade was great. Yeah. And I would like, but I was not thinking that, you know, a year later, she was going to be pushed to the moon, not even a year later, you know, as like the top female. And that's not what I wanted from her. What she did, like she kind of come in, she kind of come in. I don't know English anymore. She came in, did a move, posed, did a move, posed. It was very old school. It felt like watching like Rick Rude, you know, where it was more about just like getting this heel heat by being cocky and, you know, narcissistic. And it worked. And she didn't have to be good. She could just do these power moves and then flex and get heat. And it was cool. And if that's what they did with her for the past year and a half or however long it's been, it would have worked. And it would have worked great. And if she won a few matches against Kylan King is another one on here who I think needs to get a bit of a bigger push, but like, that's perfect. She's another big girl who's a pretty good wrestler who Jade can beat her because she's still a mid-carder she's really an undercarder. You know, like that's a good win for her. And then she could come out against Athena and Athena could look good beating this big person. And it could be satisfying watching her beat up the cocky narcissist. It could have worked actually perfectly if they did it that way, instead of making her this heel champion who's like unstoppable.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of the baddies too, or whatever. And I know they always have to interference. I know she gets a lot of interferences as well, and I know we have an issue where AEW loves to have interferences in a lot of their matches. No. But she, and I get it, she's a heel and this and that. But I feel like if you're trying to make her this big, powerful person, you shouldn't have as millions of interferences then.
Right.
You know. Yeah. And again, like I know we keep on repeating the same thing, but it all started with Athena when I was saying, why is she fucking going there to lose a 5-6 minute match when you could have thrown, there's so many people in dark that you could have did a whole 6 months of people from dark so they could get airtime. You could still get your squash matches. And then all of a sudden in the next 6 months, you could have done exactly what they did this. So she has the title for a year, but then when Athena comes in and she wins, she beat the person who had the title for a year, but it didn't look as bad. Like, you know, like, So I really do like what is it now? Like, because I don't think Nyla's gonna win, obviously. They're gonna have to get someone like Deeb. They're gonna have to, or Hater. Maybe Hater will go for it. I haven't seen her in the championship yet.
I'll say this: that would get the pop of the year.
Maybe
I
they,
think.
which means that they probably won't do it. But
Yeah.
but I think they have to go someone like that though. In my eyes, now that you just bypass Athena and all these other people, you need Paige. Saraya, sorry.
Saraya!
But she's gonna go to the I'm sure she's gonna go to the main belt. But like you need like Deeb or Hater or one of those people. Maybe Britt Baker will go for it, but like I know they're all going for the women's championship, but you have no one else now to go for it.
Yeah, I don't. But Baker wouldn't be bad. That would kind of put her over, having had both belts, as like the face of the women's division.
She kind of deserves it because
she carried it.
She carried the women's division for God knows how long,
dude.
God
when she
knows
was
how long.
injured and rolling around on that wheelchair, like she really did. I mean, what everybody's giving Moxley credit for now is kind of like
what she did for the women's division.
She did it first.
And she did it for a long time, for a year or two. Like,
and with pretty steep, challenges.
Yeah. And I know this is not a Britt Baker podcast, but I don't give a shit. We always go on to these tangents. Is that the fact that she's so loyal too, that she carried them as well as still doing her job. She would like actually leave Wednesday night to get there by Thursday morning to start work at her dentistry. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if you knew that, but she actually gets like 2 hours of sleep. Like she's literally getting on a plane. And then when she arrives back to Florida, she actually goes right to work only a couple hours later. She's so
we should do a podcast about dentists.
We should actually go to her dentist.
You live in Florida now. You can go to her. I'm not flying to Florida to see a dentist.
But
even if it's Britt Baker.
Anyway, back to Jade. I'm sorry, I went on a tangent. But
that's okay.
But I do think it's I don't even know when they would actually what the end game is though. I don't know how long they're gonna play this out. I don't know how long they're gonna, because I assume that they're trying to make it where she's a year. That's what I assume.
Oh yeah. I think they're trying to play the number. Like Tony's a stats guy and he loves numbers, and we have to do a whole podcast on the whole like wins and losses matter.
They
nonsense. They don't, but that's a whole thing. Let's not get into it because I really want to save that one up. But another thing is, and I heard that at the same time that she was being recruited by Tony, that she was also being recruited by WWE. So is it possible that she was promised something as an enticement to come to AEW instead of WWE? Maybe one of the things she was promised was like a title reign and all of this notoriety and all of this focus on her,
She wasn't she wasn't the first TNT champ, was she? Was it
TBS?
Is it TBS? I thought it was it's TBS. I thought it was TNT.
TNT is the one that Wardlow has.
I'm trying to. Oh, gotcha.
Right? Because it was that bit show.
Yeah, I'm actually. I'm going to look at. I'm trying to find
looking
it.
Looking at the internet.
And it's probably not going to work because I'm not going to get it. Because of course, when you look at something on your phone, you find it in 2 seconds. But then when you really want to look at it, you can't find it at all.
So this is a podcast where you listen to us search for things on the internet,
and there's no fact checking until it takes about 20 million years.
You know what? While we're at it, let's check some of these facts.
I know, because you know what? Well, we're just gonna spew bullshit and then try to check later on and say, "Oh shit, that never happened." I'm not even gonna look for it. But
bullshit's not the worst name for a podcast.
Yeah, I don't think. I can't find it, but I don't think she was the first champion though.
Was it Thunder Rosa?
Could have been. It could have been.
She beat. No, she might have been.
Oh, was she?
I think she beat Anna Jay for the belt.
Yeah, I'm not even like again. I'm not even seeing. You would think that people would have wiki on this fucking thing.
Oh no. What title change? What is this shit?
Well, anyway, so we'll find that later on another podcast because we are professional. But this is
Yeah. This is
anyway. I was just curious.
Did
'cause I don't-
Ruby Soho have the belt?
She did not. Ruby got done dirty ever since she got there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really.
Oh, she beat Ruby for the belt, maybe. I don't fucking know, man. That
Uh,
oh yeah, right? Because wasn't there like Jade versus somebody in a sort of tournament and Ruby won the tournament? Maybe that was it.
Yeah, it was a tournament and she beat Ruby Soho. Yep, I just found that. And she's 37-0. Look at that. Fact checking in about 20
Oh
minutes.
my god. Welcome to the podcast where we don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Ever. So 37-0 though. So that's a little ridiculous. So this is again one of the whole they put themselves into a shit like this is that the same thing with Undertaker when Undertaker was like had the undefeated streak at WrestleMania. No matter who would beat him, half the people would hate it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So and they're doing the same thing we're here where it's like now it's like who do you find that's going to beat her that people are going to be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like you have to have, I would assume, like I said, I know it's a repeating record, but it has to be Dee, Britt Baker, Hayter, unless they get Athena again back. But maybe Athena doesn't want the belt. That's another thing we didn't mention. Maybe she doesn't want to be champion.
Yeah.
But
We make a lot of assumptions, but we don't know what other factors there are, right? Like I said,
we don't even
before,
know facts.
we don't know anything. We're just sitting here, we're just two schmucks talking
Yeah.
shit like we know, like we're fucking experts. Our expertise is just two people who watch wrestling. That's all we know.
Yeah, that's
We've
all we
never
know.
done any of it.
Yeah, but
We've not. I don't know anybody in wrestling. We've never been behind the scenes. I'm sitting in my kitchen drinking whiskey. Fuck do I know?
But yeah, I'm just curious to see what the end game is, where it's going to end, how long they're going to do this, because I think the crowd. Here's my final thought on this is that I feel that the crowd is actually going to dictate it now because I think they're going to try to go with the crowds again because they have to please the crowds. The crowd slapped them in the face for Acclaim to win the belts. That's mainly the reason. I guarantee you the Acclaim would have won the belts if the crowd says, what the fuck did you just do? So I think that eventually the crowd is going to speak out, and that's when he's going to have to say, okay, we have to make sure that we do this.
Which means
probably hasn't.
Well, yeah. Well, no. I mean, that to me, that means like it's got to be Hayter.
Yes.
She's like the biggest person who's not getting any apparent push, who's getting the biggest pop, who they chant her name for just standing there, not saying anything.
What I feel is going to happen is that she's going to be in a match with someone that the crowd is going to boo for the ending. And then that's going to say, oh shit, we fucked up. Okay, this is the person that we want to have the belt then next.
Right.
Let's have a rematch. And then all of a sudden we have to get the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Because so far the crowd has been mixed, where it hasn't been that much anger or that much because even when Athena left, it was like a mixed crowd. So I think that they just have to find that one person who like, so if Hayter does fight her and she beats her, like Jade beats Hayter and the crowd goes, what the hell? That's when all of a sudden you're going to have a rematch and Hayter will probably take the belt. That's what I assume is going to happen.
I mean, hopefully it doesn't have that first what the hell and Hayter wins the first time through. But I just thought of something. I wonder if Statlander was supposed to be the next champion, and maybe it was supposed to have happened already, but she's injured. So a lot of what they're doing now is like biding their time until she's back.
Was she supposed to have a match with Jade?
I don't know, but maybe that's what their angle was, right? Maybe that's what their long-term plan was, because they were starting to push Statlander. They took her away from best friends. They gave her new music. They changed her makeup. They gave her that whole like, I'm serious now, and I'm going to start doing all these big power moves and fucking people up, and I'm not going to be this goofy best friends character anymore. And they started pushing Statlander. So it could have been their long-term plan to start a feud with Jade. And maybe we would have been in that feud now, or maybe she would have won the belt by now. But a lot of what they're doing with having Athena and whatever and everything else, I mean, Athena's the big one, maybe this is all just them dragging their feet until they get Statlander back, which is dumb. And
Yeah. See, as you were talking, I was fact checking. I did see that Statlander was supposed to actually have her match with Jade, and then she got injured, like you said. So maybe you're right. Maybe you're right that they just said, "Oh shit, we just have to keep it going." I don't know when her injury's up, but
I doubt it.
Yeah,
but maybe.
I don't know. I think once again, I think the ship has sailed with a lot of people that they just can't.
Yeah.
And I read a lot of people are saying the same things that we do, that like they just have an issue of when the shit gets hot, they just don't do it. And like I said, and that's when some person actually said, well, when Acclaim did it, the crowd literally had to slap him in the face saying, what the hell are you doing? And that's my input of what I feel is going to happen with Jade. I think people are just going to get so done with it that they're going to actually dictate what's going to happen.
They're done with it now, but I mean, the only thing they can do is hate her. Like, it has to be hate her. It could have been Athena, but they squandered it after that last match. Like, Athena doesn't have the heat that she needs to be that person now. It's got to be hate her. Otherwise, it's just going to feel like it was all a big waste. Like, we waited and waited patiently as we could for this to end. And if they just give it to Anna Jay or something, like, it's not going to have the same meaning. I mean, Ruby Soho doesn't have the heat that she should have to be able to do it. You know, there's people that could have been positioned for it, but that they kind of squandered their heat. So I think the only person it could be is Jamie Hayter or Britt Baker.
I think I did another research. Statlander is out for 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
They need to find something else then, because we can't have fucking Jade for another 6 to 8 months.
Listen, dude, I'm down for a Statlander Hayter feud when she gets back. If they give Hayter the belt and then she starts a feud with Statlander in 6 months, fuck yeah.
Because here's the thing: if she's out 6 to 8 months, that's still plenty of time for another person to get the belt and then ride it. I just can't. I don't want to deal with another 6 to 8 months of Jade. Like, it's just going to be this, because it's the same promos, the same routine, the same shtick. Like, I'm done. But we'll see what happens, and hope for the best. But hopefully, like, I don't know when's the next pay-per-view is in October.
I don't know. Do pay-per-views matter anymore?
That's true. I feel like they make it more important on certain Wednesdays now than they do.
Yeah. So I think Full Gear is the next one. That's this month, I think.
I think and I might not be able to watch it live because I'll be working.
What?
Oh, unless I quit this job.
Work's not punk.
Which might be a huge possibility. But unless they listen to this podcast and they go, oh, now you quit.
Kids, if you're listening, remember, when you grow up, quit your job. Eventually you'll get a job. Quit it. It's the punk rock thing to do.
On that note,
yep.
I'm gonna call it a night.
It's a night.
Bye.
Hate work! Yeah, I do hate work! And you should too hate work! Ain't no punk at work! Ain't no jerk!